There's just something iconic about the 22 long rifle. It's like the granddaddy of all rimfire cartridges, and even after more than a century on the scene, it's still going strong. Despite the rise of newer, hotter rimfire loads, this classic cartridge remains a go-to choice for target shooting, small game hunting, and teaching folks how to shoot. It's affordable, the recoil is practically zero, and let's be honest, it's just a blast to shoot. But here's the catch. Most people only scratch the surface when it comes to what the 22 long rifle is truly capable of. In today's video, we're going beyond the basics. We'll cover how barrel length affects velocity, what twist rate you actually want, and how different types of ammunition can completely change your performance. So pour yourself a drink, get comfortable, and settle in. This one's for the serious shooters who want to get every ounce of performance out of their rimfire rig. And hey, before we get deep into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you don't miss out. It helps us keep the content rolling and lets you stay in the loop. Now let's get into why the 22 long rifle is still one of the most underrated cartridges out there. When you look at sheer adaptability, not many rounds come close to matching what the 22 long rifle offers. It's cheap, easy to shoot, and incredibly useful in all sorts of shooting scenarios. Whether you're plinking soda cans at the back of the range or tracking rabbits out in the woods, this round handles it all. And with the right setup, it can even deliver way more than you'd expect, no exaggeration. Just take a look at what happened back in the year 1953. A Cree woman named Bella Twin, 63 years old at the time, found herself face to face with a massive grizzly near Slave Lake, Alberta, armed with nothing more than a single-shot 22 rifle of bolt action. That had seen better days, and was patched together with tape. She calmly took aim and dropped the bear with one shot to the head. That wasn't luck, that was skill, timing, and nerves of steel. Now, let's be real clear, that's not an invitation to start packing a 22 long rifle as your bear defense gun. That was a once-in-a-lifetime event, not a survival strategy. The round was made for small game, target shooting, and training, not for stopping full-grown apex predators. Trying that stunt today could not only get you hurt, but might land you in legal hot water depending on where you are. Still, stories like Bella Twin's remind us that this cartridge, while small, shouldn't be underestimated. In skilled hands, it's more than enough for its intended roles, whether you're working on your marksmanship, controlling varmints, or just enjoying a relaxed day at the range. Pound for pound, nothing else gives you the same balance of fun, function, and economy. When it comes to reinforcing your fundamentals, the 22 long rifle is one of the best tools in the game. It lets you shoot more often for less money, and it teaches proper form without bad habits from recoil or muzzle blast. And for plinking, it doesn't get much better than lining up tin cans and knocking them down one by one. What's wild is that even after all these years and major advances in ammunition and firearm design, the 22 long rifle still hasn't been dethroned. Sure, there are faster and more powerful calibers out there, but very few can match this one's blend of affordability, ease of use, and all-around practicality. It doesn't need to be flashy, it just works. And let's not forget the rifles that help make it legendary. Firearms like the Ruger 1022, the Marlin Model 60, and the Savage Model 64 have become staples in gun safes across America. They're simple to run, easy to maintain, and a joy to shoot. Whether you've been shooting for decades or just picked up your first rifle, these platforms deliver reliability you can count on. Some folks like to knock the 22 long rifle, calling it weak or outdated, but that kind of thinking misses the entire point. This isn't a Magnum powerhouse, it's a purpose-driven tool, and one that's mastered its job. Until something else can train new shooters, drop small game, and offer endless shooting enjoyment. At such a low cost, the 22 long rifle is staying exactly where it belongs, right at the heart of American shooting culture. Let's get one thing straight, not all rifles chambered in 22 long rifle are built the same. And one of the most overlooked elements that makes a real difference in performance is barrel length. Shooters often ignore it, but when it comes to rimfire ballistics, it matters more than you'd think. The sweet spot for barrel length on a 22 long rifle typically falls between 16 and 18 inches. That range offers the best compromise between muzzle velocity, stability, and consistent accuracy. Sure, short barrels are nice when you want something light and easy to maneuver, but they often leave unburned powder behind, which robs you of both speed and energy. That might be fine for casual plinking, but not if you're chasing tight groups or clean hunting shots. On the flip side, stretching the barrel past 18 inches seems like a logical way to boost performance, but with 22 long rifle, it actually backfires. The reason? This cartridge operates at low chamber pressure, so once the powder burns off and pressure peaks, the extra barrel just adds drag. That extra length slows the bullet down instead of speeding it up. So even though a longer tube might look like a precision setup, in the case of the 22 long rifle, it can actually become a liability. There's a popular myth out there that longer barrels equal better accuracy, and while that might hold true for high-velocity rifle cartridges, rimfires don't follow the same rules. The 22 long rifle doesn't need excessive barrel length. It just needs enough to build up the right velocity and get a clean powder burn. Going beyond that just adds unnecessary weight and makes the rifle harder to handle. So what's the ideal setup? If you want a balance of performance, control, and versatility, you want to stay in that 16 to 18 inch range. Need something more compact for tight spaces? That's fine, but expect to give up some velocity in the trade-off. Barrel length, though, is only part of the performance puzzle. Another key factor is the twist rate of the barrel, the rate at which the rifling spins the bullet. This may seem like a minor technical detail, but it plays a big role in stabilizing your shot. For example, a 1 in 16 twist rate means the rifling completes one full revolution every 16 inches of barrel. That spin is what keeps your bullet from wobbling mid-flight, helping it stay on course. The vast majority of 22 long rifle barrels use a 1 in 16 twist. And that's no accident. It pairs beautifully with the typical bullet weights in the 30 to 40 grain range, which are the bread and butter of rimfire shooting. Whether you're knocking over cans, shooting paper, or taking down small game, that twist rate gives you dependable accuracy. But here's where it gets interesting. Not every rimfire round behaves the same. Heavier subsonic bullets, which fly slower but hit harder, often perform better with a faster twist, something closer to a 1 in 12. On the flip side, lightweight hypervelocity rounds might prefer a slower twist. If your rifle's twist rate doesn't complement your chosen load, your accuracy can go downhill fast. Bullets may yaw, drift off target, or even keyhole on impact, which is a telltale sign they're not stabilizing correctly. So if you plan to run a wide variety of ammunition, it's worth understanding your rifle's twist rate and selecting ammo that matches it. It's not just theory, it directly impacts your results on target. When you get that pairing right, your groups tighten up, and every shot feels dialed in. Even if you've got the perfect barrel length and an ideal twist for your loads, there's still one more curveball that every 22 shooter has to deal with: the quirks of rimfire ignition. Unlike centerfire cartridges that rely on a primer in the center of the case, rimfire rounds use a priming compound spread around the inner rim of the case head. It's an efficient and inexpensive design, but it comes with its own set of problems. Chief among them is inconsistency. Low-quality rimfire ammo often has uneven priming, which can cause weak ignition or outright failures to fire. Combine that with an older rifle, maybe one with a tired hammer spring or a worn firing pin, and you'll start to see misfires more often than you'd like. Misfires aren't just a minor irritation, they can seriously break your momentum, especially if you're out hunting or working against the clock at the range. You line up your shot, squeeze the trigger, and nothing. Suddenly you're clearing a dud round and hoping the next one does what it's supposed to. Even with high-end ammunition, failures can still happen, though they're far less common with reputable brands. That's why spending a little extra on quality rimfire ammo is worth every penny. On top of that, keeping your firearm clean and well-maintained, particularly the bolt, chamber, and firing pin, is essential. A dirty or worn-out component can turn an otherwise solid rifle into a problem magnet. Still, even with everything dialed in, the rimfire ignition system has its flaws. That's the trade-off for running 22 long rifle. You save a lot on cost, but every now and then, you'll click on a round that just doesn't fire. But ignition issues are only part of the story. There's another quirk that comes up often with 22 long rifle ammunition: sensitivity. This isn't unique to rimfires, but with this cartridge, especially in semi-automatics, it's far more pronounced. The key issue here is gas pressure. Semi-auto rifles rely on the energy from each shot to cycle, the action ejecting the spent case and loading the next round. But if you're running lower-powered rounds like subsonics, your rifle may short stroke or fail to eject, creating jams that can grind your range session to a halt. That's where bolt-action rifles really shine. Since they operate manually, they don't care how much gas pressure the round produces. Whether you're using whisper-quiet subsonics or regular speed loads, bolt guns just keep on trucking. They're ideal for shooters who value silence and accuracy over rapid fire. Follow-ups perfect for small game hunting or precision work on paper. So how do you pick between a bolt action and a semi-auto? It really comes down to your shooting style. If you want quick follow-up shots and are happy to stick with full power rounds that cycle reliably, something like the Ruger 1022 is a solid choice. But if you prefer maximum reliability with any ammo, especially those quirky or low-velocity loads, a bolt action like the Savage Mark II might suit you better. Keep in mind that even rifles with the same make and model can behave differently with certain types of ammunition. One rifle might chew through a particular brand without issue, while another might jam on the same box. That's why it pays to test a few different loads and see what your individual rifle likes. For bolt-action shooters, this flexibility is a huge advantage. It lets you fine-tune your rifle to match your exact needs. Now let's talk about another important topic, effective range. The 22 long rifle is a fantastic cartridge, but it was never built for long-distance shooting. It shines inside of 100 yards, but once you start pushing past that, things get challenging fast. Gravity has a bigger impact on these lightweight rounds, and bullet drop becomes significant. Try to shoot past 150 yards, and you'll quickly realize that hitting your mark takes real skill and careful adjustment. And then there's wind, probably the biggest enemy of any 22 shooter trying to stretch their distance. Because the bullets are so light and relatively slow, even a mild breeze can push them several inches off course. It's frustrating, but also makes every shot more meaningful. You're not just pulling the trigger, you're reading your surroundings, adjusting your hold, and learning how the elements interact with your shot. So how do you make the most of it? Start by zeroing your rifle properly. If you're mostly shooting between 50 and 70 yards, set your sights for that sweet spot. It'll give you the most reliable point of aim with minimal adjustments. But if you're the type who wants to explore the longer end of what 22 long rifle can do, you'll need to factor in wind and bullet drop every single time. Learn your holdovers, practice judging distance, and don't be afraid to tweak your sights on the fly. Shooting at distance with a rimfire isn't about pretending you're holding a full power rifle. It's about knowing the cartridge's limits and pushing them with skill and patience. At the end of the day, not all 22 long rifles are created with the same goal in mind. Some are built to drill tight groups, others are just made for casual backyard fun. The key is knowing what your rifle was meant for and using it in the way it performs best.